Natural habitat doesn't arrive without a reason. Never-ending face, drifting over days. Now your life is out of season. I will occupy, I will help you die. I will run through you, no illusion. Control the imposter. I'll be your master. Your life runs faster. I'll be your master. Master of puppets and pulling your strings. Twisting your mind, smashing your dreams. Blinded by me, you can't see a thing. Just come and lay beside his grave. Master. Just come and lay beside his grave. Master.
Okay, and with that, well past the time we should have started, we are in fact getting started. Hello! Are you out there? It is Larsen Live. It is December 7th, a day that will also live in infamy, to paraphrase President Roosevelt. Yes, well, we can't say a word until we get through the song, Pony Throat. I was having some pretty bad technical difficulties. Allow me to tell you what I had to do this morning. I had to go teach a guitar lesson whilst my lovely wife, the dog, and a friend of my wife took the car to do a bit of gadding about. Yeah, so I'm losing alpha male points. I let my wife drive my car. Ooh. But yes, then I had to take an Uber back home, and I was, well on time. I got back at 11:50. I started to, set up, and then my computer froze. And then the internet stopped working. Then the internet stopped working, and the computer froze. And yes, finally, at about 12:10, I finally got things started. It is a day that lived in infamy for several reasons, which we will get to. We opened up with Canto's acapella rendition of Metallica's Master of Puppets. Looking at some comments here, you guys got the party started while I was gone. Shinseki Evans said, maybe Larsen shot that CEO and he's on the run. Sadly, I was not. Okay. Brother Hakeem says, I'm new to boxing. Is it normal for my hands to be sore from hitting the heavy bag? The first couple of times, yes. Yes, it is. Okay, the title of the stream, which fits the opening song, is Muppet Sexual Harassment. That was a pretty big story on the internet that soon got totally eclipsed by the United Healthcare assassination story, which we'll get to right now. So yes, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, not the actor, was assassinated in a presumably politically motivated assassination. The gunman shot him, and the casings of the bullet were found that said, deny, depose, deflect, which is an actual tactic that insurance companies use to deny people their benefits. Having been somebody who did used to have United Healthcare insurance, I'm not going to say, the guy deserved to die, per se. At the same time, I'm not exactly shedding any tears about a man who makes money off the blood of the innocent getting shot. be quite honest, if it was the actor Brian Thompson, he'd probably be less guilty than this Brian Thompson. Brian Thompson, the actor, aka Billy Zane stung by a beehive, is best known for, well, a bunch of shit, to be honest. And that is actually a line I directly used with the woman I dated before I met my wife. We were watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I said, "Oh, look, it's Brian Thompson." She asked, "What has he been in?" I said, "Honestly, a bunch of horse shit." And that's true. Brian Thompson, the actor, best known for playing Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and the Night Slasher in Sylvester Stallone's magnum opus Cobra. Both of those men are less evil, in fact, than an insurance executive. "You have to take me in. Even I have rights. The law is civilized, isn't it? Pig!" "Yeah, but I'm not. This is where the law stops, and I start. Suck it." Okay, now that we're done quoting Cobra, boy, that's a hell of a story. It is quite the buzz on the internet. And reading the story, he got off the assassin at the 178th Street Port Authority, not the 42nd Street Port Authority. The 42nd Street Port Authority is the one that has a statue of Ralph Cramden, not the 178th Street Port Authority. I should know this, considering that 178th Street Port Authority is the one that is closest to me, living here in North New Jersey as I am. "Hey, Norton! Come over here, I'm gonna kill a man! Heh heh!" And then I presume Art Carney then kind of fiddled around and flailed his hands around for about 20 minutes trying to pull the gun before Ralph smacked him in the back of the head. Yeah, it's almost 2025, and I'm referencing The Honeymooners. God help us all. Anyway, looking at some comments here. Ponythroat says, "Letting your wife drive the car does not make you lose alpha male points. It might make you lose your car. My wife is, in fact, a very good driver." When she told me she was going to drive the car, I was trying really hard not to reference those old 1950s, like, Goofy cartoons where Goofy's wife drives the car through the fence. And then that cartoon implies that his wife cheats on him. Boy, 50s Disney was pretty crazy. Anyway, Robert Diaz says his gooning session was stalled by big tech. Yes, I hate when gooning sessions are stopped by big tech. Ponythroat says, "When I first saw the story break, Ponythroat made the exact same mistake I did. I was like, did Brian Thompson, the actor, get killed? I mean, to be fair, anybody who would willingly act in Mortal Kombat Annihilation probably should have died. Not kidding, of course. The only person who deserved to die for that movie was Lawrence Kasdan." Alpha Marigi says, "It's going to be hilarious when it's revealed that the hit was paid for by a richer, more immoral guy. Possibly. Or it might be that he was just really upset about his healthcare premiums. Need I remind you that the history of labor relations in America does literally involve redneck coal miners fighting gun battles with police officers. And to be quite honest, I think we should do more of that. I don't want to sound like a communist here, but, yeah, I'm not shedding any tears for a man who literally denies people life-saving care getting gunned down in the streets." As you can see, I already skipped past that stage and went to the 1950s sitcom characters murdering him. If I were an actually decent voice actor, I might throw in some characters from other 1950s sitcoms walking in on it. "What happened?" Oh, that sucked, Larsen. Ponythroat says, "And the media is acting like this is a tragedy. If it was a tragedy, everybody skipped straight to the acceptance stage of grief, or perhaps celebration, the sixth stage." Yes, it's been a while since I've seen so many people celebrating a man getting murdered. Frankly, I don't know if he's much of a man, but, well, in the biological sense, he is a man. He also might be a man in the sense that Lord Dracula would define a man as a miserable little pile of secrets. Anyway, yeah, this person who shot him, from what I gathered, he like literally only took off his mask so he could like chat up some girl. From what I could see, he's not a bad-looking guy, so this guy would probably get married multiple times in prison. There have been uglier men who got married in prison. Ponythroat says, the police were nowhere near him as he was dying in the gutter. Where are you, car 54? For a brief second, I didn't know what you were talking about, and I thought you were referencing My Mother, the Car. Which, I'm 33 years old, but I'm talking like a 70-year-old man referencing 50s sitcoms. Yeah, I mean, far be it from me to, celebrate a man dying, but yeah, I'm not gonna celebrate, but I will, probably whistle innocently to myself as I kind of walk away with my hands in my pockets. Let's put it that way. The New Jersey Board of Education provides me with Blue Cross Blue Shield Horizon healthcare, which has actually served me pretty well. Some person on Twitter actually commented that maybe we shouldn't celebrate this. Not to be that one annoying moralist, but cheering on the assassination of a random CEO is bad both morally and politically. His death does literally zero to make the world a better place. In a few cases, I think surgically precise applications of murder can make the world a better place. Oh, and fun fact, you know who said this? You're not going to believe this. Basil at Link of Sunshine, who I've talked about before. He's one of those people who stupidly thinks that the Legend of Zelda franchise is a homoerotic gay pride parade. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Anybody who thinks that Link is a homosexual or a transsexual is a complete goddamn moron who has never said anything and never will say anything that is worth listening to, and they should be ignored. I don't go out of my way to look these people up. They literally just drop in front of my face. I don't know what that says, that, like, so many people are apparently under the impression that the Zelda franchise is a homoerotic farce, and they're all just the worst people on the planet. Take that information as you will. Ponythroat says, somebody should charge that guy for littering. He left his trash on a New York street. Okay. Biff Stankovic says he was not a redneck farmer. I didn't say he was. I said that the history of labor in this country involves, coal miners and farmers fighting gun battles. It was done with a silencer. He circled back on the bus down in the city. Yes, it's a mystery. Ponythroat says Barney Miller did not come to his aid this time. Neither did Joe Friday. Robert Diaz says, also that's the 70s, sir. Robert Diaz says the CIA uses strategic murder all the time to preserve democracy. Well, they do it for some reason. I don't know if democracy is what it is. Yeah, so, greedy insurance men who make blood money should be murdered, and people who think that Zelda is gay should be ignored and possibly smacked upside the head once in a while. And that is that. It's been a hell of a story. Okay, so, quite a lot of crime and silliness occurred. Speaking of New York City and crime and taking out the trash, the Daniel Penny trial was happening this week, which we talked about in May of this year. You all remember the story. Curly-haired dying Gaul lookalike Daniel Penny, formerly the United States Marine Corps, had an altercation with homeless Michael Jackson impersonator and screaming violent derelict Jordan Neely on the subway, in which Mr. Neely ended up being choked to death, except not really, because he was alive when the police came. That case went to trial. It was quite the circus. As closing arguments began, people in the courtroom were literally screaming and chanting guilty at Daniel Penny. It was all for naught, apparently, because the first manslaughter case was dismissed. I don't believe his fat is out of the fryer yet, because I think there might be another trial or something, maybe like a negligent homicide, something like that. Yeah, this whole thing is just a comedy of errors and really bad actors. Yeah, one case was dismissed, Robert Diaz. He's not totally acquitted yet, but yeah, it's not a good look. First of all, let's talk about the prosecutor who's throwing the book at Daniel Penny. She is, as far as I can tell, a really angry lesbian who looks like Beavis and Butthead's principal, and she's just trying really hard to railroad that man into the prison. Bear in mind that in 2019, Daphne Yoran, the prosecutor, gave a reduced sentence to a black gentleman who murdered an Asian man at the ATM. She gave this man 10 years for a cold-blooded murder under the guise of restorative justice. I don't understand these people. Like, I will never understand this logic of, like, middle-aged and advanced-aged, liberal white women who are presumably on SSRIs just falling head over heels in love with, like, the concept of screaming black derelicts who murder people. I will never understand this. And I do specify it's not just about, like, restorative racial justice or whatever. It's specifically for, like, just the shittiest, lumpen, proliest, members of the black community. Because I see them, I've known people, not quite as insane as this, but kind of similar, and they actively just have naked contempt for, black people who actually function and contribute to society. They worship and celebrate the lumpen proles and the brappies, the hollow men, if you will. I will never understand this logic. It's worth pointing out that in her argument, she referred to him as, like, the blonde man, the white man. Almost as if she has just some kind of knee-jerk hatred of, shovel-chinned, dying gall men. You can interpret that as you will. Okay, Alvin Rodriguez says, civil case. Alvin Rodriguez says, somebody joked that men should withhold sex from women if Daniel Penny is found guilty. Oh boy, it's just 4 Bs all around. Women are withholding sex from men because of Trump. And, we'll get to, South Korea in a second. And then men are withholding sex from women. Just a society where everybody is Lysistrata. That's a society I want to live in, not. Alpha Marigi says the 4D movement. No dicks, no dollars, no defense, no diamonds. I think, like, there's been periods in time where men have tried doing that and didn't really go well. Not the least of which is that in both men and women's cases, the people who advocate using sex as a political weapon tend to be the people who don't have sex very often. Yes, I'm looking at you, Andrea Dworkin. And also, this is the problem with, the MGTOWs, the men going their own way. The reason why that never amounted to anything is because they were all just a bunch of sexless losers who weren't going to have sex anyway. So they're like, Yeah, man, I choose not to have sex with women. It's my virtue. No, it's not. It's not virtuous when you're not doing something that you weren't going to do anyway. Albert Diaz says they're going to deliberate a lesser charge, bet on a civil trial if he beats the negligent homicide charge. Oh, they're going to try to nail this man to the goddamn cross. Ponythroat says Larsen trying not to utter a racism, the real struggle. I don't think I'm being racist at all, sir. I draw a very clear distinction between black people and brappies. First of all, a brappy can be of any race, any ethnicity, any religion. Anyone could be a dead-eyed, feral derelict, without a soul. And there are plenty of black people who contribute to society and don't, dance around shoving women onto the subway tracks. Jordan Neely was not one of them. I don't know. Isn't there like some kind of Seventh Amendment issue about a jury of your peers? Like if the people running the trial are people who despise you, like just inherently because of who you are. And let's be quite honest, they do hate Daniel Penny for being a butt-chinned blonde white man. The enemy. Can I request a retrial, a mistrial, a bad court thingy? Your Honor, I request a bad court thingy. You mean a mistrial, Mr. Hutz? Yes. That's why you're the judge. I'm the law talky guy. And as if this, farce wasn't enough, who else is suing Daniel Penny? Jordan Neely's parents, who are suing him for assault and battery because, he hurt my son. Bear in mind that these people weren't around when their son was, being a homeless, schizophrenic derelict shoving people onto the subway tracks. They couldn't be asked to, do anything for him then. But the second their shitheel son dies, then they come with their hands out. Dare I say, a country where people like this are not shamed into oblivion. This shows how much this country sucks. Yes, Robert Diaz agrees with me. Jordan Neal is famous for scumbag clout chasers because they can get money out of it. Not to sound racist or anything, but yes, the stereotype of the ghetto lottery is sadly a thing. Again, this is not all black people, but it's it's the lumpen pearl shitheads who, dare I say, they want their children to die senselessly so they can bilk some money out of it. There was another story like that happened, actually, which we'll get to in a bit. Alfred says, Nord's Germanus gets so much hate. Well, again, it's not just the fact that he's a white man. It's the fact that he looks like, the evil, like, white patriarch of feminist nightmare. He's literally a blonde white man with a giant butt chin. He is, like, the enemy. Ponythroat says, in good news, I recently purchased a camera. A Sony Mavica FD20 floppy disk camera. Really going to bring back Y2K. Perhaps we should bring back the Y2K years. I mean, that was before America spent 20 years in a sandbox for no reason. And the last halcyon days of American sanity. Those years. Yeah, speaking of the ghetto lottery, there was another story like that not related to the Jordan Neely incident, but vaguely related. There was a boy in someplace who he was really fat, and he went on a roller coaster, and they couldn't get the thing over his gigantic bloated carcass, and he fell out of the roller coaster and he died. His parents then sued the theme park for $310 million. I'm only vaguely remembering this. Let me look up this story. Yeah, I'm clearly a respectable journalist. Just let me look up this exact story here. Okay. Let's see. Yes. Oh, they were awarded. Jury awards $310 million to parents of giant tub of shit who fell to his death from a drop tower ride at Icon Park in Orlando. Look, like, obviously it's not good that this kid died, the high school football standout. Basically what happened was it's one of those rides at the park where like the thing goes all the way up and then it drops down. It has a weight limit of about 300 pounds. This kid was almost 100 pounds over the weight limit. The high school football standout. Yeah, gee, I'm curious as to why he's a. One second, I'm getting text messages. Yeah, just give me a second here. Yeah, anyway, yes, this, big Chungus here, he's a high school football standout. I question whether or not this kid was actually that good at football, or whether it's the fact that, he's almost 400 pounds, and your average high school football player is what, like 160, 170? He probably wasn't that good of a football player. He was just really, really fat, and the other kids couldn't knock him down. They really tried to make this work. 2 seats had in fact been adjusted to handle the team's large size. They could barely get that clicky bar over him, and yeah, he fell out. I mean, this is a remarkable amount of gross negligence. First of all, the amusement park should have, known that a weight limit is, there for a reason. And also, I think it's also a bit of a problem that his parents allowed their kid to get that big. It's sad to say, but some shitty people shouldn't have kids, and they're probably happier than they would be if he had lived a full life. To be quite honest, I hate to say it. Yes, the Sampson family, Tyre Sampson. A Florida jury awarded $310 million to the Sampson family after he fell over 100 feet from an Icon Park ride. The manufacturer, Funtime Handel GmbH, was deemed negligent. GmbH is a German abbreviation for Gesellschaft mit beschränkter Haftung, which roughly means limited liability corporation. Das Wunderbar amusement park rides did not expect the weight of, the American lumpen proletariat. So, it was a hell of a victory. Okay. Ponythroat says, speaking of, the guy who wasted Brian Thompson definitely had the Giga Chad shin. Yeah, I got a bit distracted for a bit, and we gotta look at some comments. The guy who shot Brian Thompson, his chin he had like a little bit of a pointier chin. It was still pretty chinly, but it wasn't quite like a big, square shovel chin like Daniel Penny has. It was like kind of a pointy, like Joker chin. He's still probably going to get a bunch of marriage proposals in prison. Albert Diaz confirms one of my earlier points. A black man defended his girlfriend on a train, killing a guy with a knife. He was not charged, as he should. There is an example of a black man who is not a feral, brappy lumpen prole. Good for him. referring to the Tyre Sampson debacle. Pointy Throat says, parents only come back from getting cigarettes when money's on the line. Yes. The theme park needs money to repair the concrete. Yep, $310 million. It's almost $1 million per pound. I mean, the worst I've ever done is throw up on a roller coaster. I didn't fall out and die and bankrupt a German, Gesellschaft company. Alpha Riga says, I was 170 at 6'4" in high school. I was like 140 in high school. And, I had friends in high school who, played football. They were pretty big, but they're probably like, maybe like 200 or something. And this kid's literally twice the size of them. High school football standout. No, you're just a fat tub of shit. Pony Throat says he's 100 pounds heavier than Shaquille O'Neal was in his playing days. Yes. Alpha Marigi says retro anime Dorito chin. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's like he's got the like Ganondorf pointy chin kind of, or like I think Joker chin is probably best. Actually, we have quite a few stories about fucking lumpenprole idiots today. There was also a video that went a bit viral in this past week. And this kind of ties all these stories together. There was a video in which they were in a Walmart. This really just embodies everything that sucks. Not everything, but a lot of what sucks about America today. A young black girl is just losing her shit in a Walmart. She's like throwing around glass bottles. Her parents, or I don't know, whoever's watching her, is trying to calm her down. Some liberal white lady runs in and literally tells them not to discipline their child. No, don't touch her. Don't yell at her. She could be the next president. Yep. That's what a child does. That's what a future president does when they're a child. They throw groceries around, stomp on egg cartons in a Walmart. Yes, Parson Weems writing about child George Washington cutting down the cherry tree. That's I'm sure he was going to put, the next chapter about, Braptavius like throwing glass bottles around a Walmart. Yep. And that's just a microcosm of what sucks about America. Okay? Brappy child causes destruction. Some token efforts at calming her down. Some liberal white lady who is presumably on copious amounts of SSRIs prostrates herself before the screaming derelict, not allowing anybody to discipline the screaming derelict, and saying that the derelict could be the next president. I mean, she might be the next president, but that's just a indictment of how this country's gone down the toilet. I don't know who I hate more, Brappies or like overly medicated liberal white women. Boy, it's a coin flip. I don't know why there's only 6 people here. I'm dropping goddamn gold bars in this stream. I don't condone hitting your child most times, but, some kids really need it. Or maybe not hitting them, but my parents did not hit me, but if I acted up as a kid, I would be literally dragged out by my wrist and like yelled at in the parking lot, which is what this kid needed. I've never I say this a lot, but I wish I had the power to reach to the screen and punch people in the face. Okay. Ponythroat says, maybe they all left in the stream as non-functional. Yeah, probably. I did everything right. I planned days in advance. I got a song, I got a good title, but then technology failed me. Alpha Marigi says that white people need to beat their kids' people on suicide watch. I mean, clearly, that kid was not being beaten enough. Oh, don't touch her. She could be the president. Yeah, that's how you become the president. You throw a temper tantrum in a Walmart, endangering people's safety by throwing, glass champagne bottles on the floor, and you just, ipso facto presidency. They were not actual champagne bottles. It was those sparkling grape juice bottles, but it's still glass. The fucking SSRI infected, liberal white woman. Oh, you don't know what she's going through. Yeah, I do know what this bitch is going through. She's going through about $50 of inventory in the span of 5 seconds. And yes, I did call a small child a bitch. Deal with it. Ponythroat says, Tard Rage example. I mean, she's a child, so I will give her the slight benefit of the doubt in that, she's probably just throwing a tantrum. This girl cannot have been this girl cannot have been older than 10. So maybe she could, grow out of it with, some actual parenting. But clearly there isn't parenting going on. Alfreda says she might be beaten. Yeah, as I said that, I was kind of thinking of it. Well, clearly not good parenting is going on here. Okay, now I think I better stop talking about the state of this country. Wait, no, actually, we got one more thing to say about this formerly great shithole. The University of Chicago has made some interesting scientific research developments. Researchers from the University of Chicago have demonstrated an AI that can predict crimes a week in advance at a 90% accuracy rate. I think I can predict crimes a week in advance too. I'm sorry, I can't finish this sentence. I can predict crimes a week in advance with a 90% accuracy rate too, but I won't tell you my secrets of how I do so. I'll let you figure out how I do such a thing. You can you can take that as you will. Yes, Alfreda says perhaps the girl was beaten too much, and that's why she was acting out. Yeah, yes, I do know that is true. Yeah, clearly parenting needs to be done properly here, and it's not happening. Okay, yeah, let's leave America behind for a bit because I might put my fist through the goddamn wall if I don't. Let's go to South Korea because things are bad here. They're almost as bad there. Basically, there was almost a coup in South Korea. The president accused the opposing party of being North Korean spies. He goes on TV to mandate martial law. The military is summoned, but they vote to not do so, and that was that. So, yeah, they really did just vote to stop democracy. Apparently, this is because, he's more of a conservative. Liberals won the election, and they didn't like that. Yeah, South Korea is also going totally insane, with the 4B and stuff like that. And, thankfully it didn't happen. I really think it might just get to the point where North Korea is going to win by default. South Korea is just going to insane themselves to death, at which point North Korea can just cross the border without firing a shot. Let's not go to South Korea. It is a silly place. Ponythroat says in comments, wow, the AI can tell that areas with a history of crime might have some more crime in the future. Alpha Mrigi says they named the movie Minority Report. Well, yeah, I didn't want to make that joke, but yes. Robert Diaz says it's not an achievement to predict shootings, muggings, and stabbings. Alpha Mrigi says they accepted the man's apology. What I can tell, both rad femmes and men overhype 4B. Pointerthroat says, have you looked up previous South Korean presidents? Yes, I have. It's pretty in character. Yeah, I mean, South Korea drunkenly staggered into being a democracy in the 80s, but it's not a very strong democracy. Let's put it that way. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Should we get to the silly side of things? Actually, no. We do have there's actually quite a lot to talk about this week. I said we were going to leave America, but unfortunately, we have to go back to America because it's a lot of bad things are going on. You know what else sucks in America? The schools, of course. And wouldn't you know it, it kind of relates to this whole, the crime beat. Boy, it's amazing how, like, half of the problems in America really all boil down to the same core issue. Ponythroat, referring to South Korea, says it's probably Johnny Somali's fault. He brapped too close to the sun. I mean, in all the chaos of martial law, I would have quietly assassinated him, to be honest. Alpha Mrigi says they accepted the man's apology. It was referring to the fact that his party prevented him from being impeached by boycotting the vote. Yeah, indeed. But yeah, the schools suck for really the same reason that everything else sucks in America. Got a couple of stories there that all kind of tie together. The Seattle Public Schools shuts down the Gifted and Talented program because it had too many Asian and white students. Boy, this Gifted and Talented program has too many gifted and talented students. Let's close it down. This is not the first school district that, centered on equity and ran the scores and testing into the toilet. I talk about this a lot and nothing gets solved. Incidentally, going from the West Coast to the East Coast, they did the same thing. Newton South High School in, Massachusetts, which is, fun fact, the high school that Joe Rogan went to. They decided to get rid of sorting students and tracking. In other words, they got rid of students being grouped into, low, middle, or high achieving students. Teachers had to cater to the mediocre, grand mass in the middle. What do you think happened? Exactly what you think would happen. The smart students got bored with the easier material, and they didn't try as hard. The stupid students got angry because it was too hard for them, and they learned slower. They tried to make everything equal, and nobody was happy. They tried everything, and they're all out of ideas. The communists won, and America sucks because of it. Okay. Let's look at what else I have in my, what do you call it? My bullet points. Labeled Euthanasia. Oh, a nice happy topic we can talk about. In the Telegraph in the UK, Pat McFadden, whoever that is, let me look up this, Skeletor-looking son of a bitch. Oh, he's a Patrick Bosco McFadden is a British politician who served as Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster since July 2024. The man looks like a walking skeleton with a skin suit sloppily stretched over it. Britain is thinking of legalizing euthanasia. You know, the old NHS, which everybody worships. Mr. McFadden suggests assisted dying patients might have to pay to die. I thought Britain had socialized medicine. Well, actually, this is a luxury good. This is not healthcare, sir. You want to die with dignity? Well, we're going to have to charge you a little bit about that. God save the king. You know, I'm just saying, if I looked like, Skeletor in a suit, I would try to, be a nice, warm, loving person. He didn't get that memo, clearly. I mean, say what you will about America, we don't force people to pay for their suicide. We we do a lot of bad things, but we don't do that. Alpha Rodriguez says in Futurama the suicide booth was a quarter. Yes, well, I mean, as long as it's reasonable, I don't see the problem here. Alpha Rodriguez says equality under the law, not equity, is what we need. Yes, I agree. Ponythroat says Fat McPadden. He's actually quite skinny. But yes, Futurama had it right. Suicide booth was a quarter. And finally, before we get to the silly side of things, the wages took it in the shorts today with mints. And I quote, let me just pull this up. My, Jafif. In 1 second here. Thank you for your encouragement, your commitment, your investment and involvement with driving our sales and beating the goal by $6 million. Here's a breath mint. You are very appreciated. Hey, Wagie, you got our company to make record profits. Have a mint. Yeah, no, I'm not a communist, but maybe a few CEOs need to get murdered. At least that's on the table again. So I guess things might be, getting better a bit in the future. Maybe. I mean, it's like you didn't even. I mean, I used to work for Amazon in the procurement center, and Jeff Bezos is a Dickensian slave driver, but he at least gave us pizza. This fuckwit couldn't even give pizza. It's like here's like a mint that literally cost like a penny. Here you go, Wagie. Pointer says, "Cool, boss. Here's an impale mint." Well said. Alpha Rodriguez says, I remember a Twitter post about saying modern art haters are anti-intellectual, and there was a bunch of spare mints on the floor. Could be worse. It could be I saw this one modern art piece that was literally some woman had sex with a bunch of dudes and then nailed their used condoms to the wall. I mean, I've heard of art hose, but that's ridiculous. Yeah, yep, here's a mint. Oh, and speaking of Amazon, yeah, apparently there's been a growing trend of like delivery drivers masturbating into the food. Uh, Yeah, an LA public school teacher whacked off onto the cookies and served to students. Uh, there are daily stories of delivery food drivers defiling orders. Uh, yeah, so Amazon is apparently delivering food now with a delivery service called Fresh. The irony is that the food is not, in fact, fresh. Perishable food are now being delivered at room temperature, after hours on the road. Beef, fish, chicken in a trunk. There were at least 12 recorded deliveries of rotten meat. Bravo, Jeff Bezos. I don't want to make a suggestion, but maybe we could like assassinate. No, I'm kidding. No, I can't say that. Maybe we could play a rousing video game and assassinate Jeff Bezos in the video game. Yes. Yes, we could play some rousing video games with Mr. Bezos. Perhaps Minecraft or Roblox. Alpha Mariga says, the thing about the wagie L things is at a certain point, if you let yourself be disrespected, I don't feel sorry for you. Well, people need to work. So I think, people can't just walk away from their job sometimes. There is a work ethic, like the Protestant work ethic. I do think it is a good thing. Me and my lovely wife were talking about this morning over breakfast. But if there is a work ethic, then I also think there should be a pay ethic or a noblesse oblige, whatever you call it. Like if people are obligated to work hard for you, you as the boss should be obligated to pay them well. That's my opinion. Point Throat says, a worse delivery service than Grubhub at last. Indeed. Alpha Marigi says, I support better conditions for Amazon workers by not working at Amazon. Yeah, the problem is that all these little, podunk, shitsvilles, there really isn't that much work to be found other than Walmart and Amazon. So that's what you got to do for a living. And, you got to you have to do the wagey shuffle under some douchebag middle manager whose life peaked with playing high school football. And you can set in for a long life of misery and pain. Albert Diaz says, I've heard of a delivery driver wanking it into the food. Nominally, it was for repeated customers not tipping. Yet, I mean, whatever happened to, like, spitting in the food, that I can understand. But whacking off into it is just a bridge too far for me. Pointfoot says, is Jeff Bezos planning on visiting New York anytime soon? I mean, considering what Jeff Bezos looks like now, I think his only plans are, like, becoming a monster truck driving wasteland warrior at some point in the future. I mean, he's getting remarkably swole for a man in his late 50s, so I can only assume that he thinks that society's going to collapse and he's going to rule that Thunderdome. Okay, now we got to the silly side of things. I'm going to save the Muppet thing for a little bit later because that's a hell of a story. Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna do that last because it's a pretty big one. Now we come to the silly side of things, Twitter silliness, and pop culture and celebrity news. So first of all, something positive, which then became something negative. 1 second. Okay, so a couple days ago, actress Marisa Tomei of My Cousin Vinny, Marvel Cinematic Universe, and The Wrestler fame turned 60 years old. Many people commented that this woman looks astoundingly good for a woman who is 60. As a side note, I don't know when like white women figured out how to not age, but I'm liking it. Anyway, I digress. Yes, so Marisa Tomei turned 60. She did a little, thirst trap, whatever, TikTok, showing off the gams, and most people were pretty cool with this. Then some douchebag, John Miller at Miller's Stream, he had something really stupid to say. And I quote, "All the usual suspects are drooling over this fossil with 0 eggs in the crate. That to me is more disturbing than what they call, scare quotes, pedophilia. It's a sign of a dangerous biological mutation in men." In case you didn't understand that, allow me to put it into, non-degenerate cretin terms. This man thinks that it's disturbing that people are commenting that a old woman is, aging very well. To him, that is more disturbing than quote-unquote pedophilia. Finding an attractive, mature woman attractive is dangerous biological mutation. I'm sure this guy thinks really long and hard about the age of consent when he's alone. This man believes that finding a 60-year-old woman to be attractive is worse than finding a 16-year-old or a 6-year-old to be attractive. Sir, if you want to admit that you're a pedophile, there are easier ways to go about it. Oh, in case you're wondering, John Miller is, I don't know, he's one of the legion of like even shittier Andrew Tate clones who, has the same PFP as every other douchebag like Sneeko. He's, sitting in a chair with his, his legs up like I'm a cool guy. He's very much not a cool guy. And he's drinking a tumbler of something with his pointy egghead going behind him. Fuck this guy. Fuck him hard. Not in a sexual way. Alpha Rodriguez says, perhaps the not tipping so the cute waitress spits in my food meme got too real. Yes. C-Punk Messiah says, blasphemy. Old ladies, I find her quite lovely. Well, in personality, but, also, some women are aging remarkably well. Yeah, I don't know when, like, white women discovered not aging, but, yeah, like, quite a few actresses are aging astoundingly well. Marisa Tomei, Elizabeth Hurley, Helen Mirren, and so forth. I'm all for that. Yes, online right-wing men continue to be really, really weird. Not to be outdone, I recently saw a post by, Bronze Age pervert, the goddamn moron that he is. Let me pull this one up if I can. It's kind of related to John Miller's stupid thing. Bronze Age pervert, and I quote, was responding to a woman who was opening up a copy of his book, Bronze Age Mindset. It was a thirst trap pic of a woman in a short skirt and a crop top. Costin Alamaru says, only the male intellect, clouded by the sexual impulse, could call this undersized, narrow-shouldered, wide-hipped, thin-legged sex the fair sex. The female sex could be more aptly called the unesthetic sex. Boy, that is a very verbose way to come out of the closet, Bronze Age pervert. Just saying. Okay. With that, let's see. What else do I have to talk about? I might have to actually abridge some things. Okay, let's see. Let's do a quick poll here. I can either talk about the Elder Scrolls cookbook, which is a sign of Bethesda giving up, or I could talk about the Tuah girl running some Bitcoin scam and being under fire for it. As I say that, I know what I'm talking about. Spitcoin. Okay, yeah. Haley Welsh, best known for being drunk and making a stupid joke and being famous for it for some idiotic reason. She apparently made a meme coin. Some cryptocurrency thing. Cryptocurrencies are bullshit. Anyway. Hawk coin. Why did she not call it Spitcoin? I don't know. So says at Jigadrin _ Hi, Haley Welch X. My $35,000 I purchased of Hawk coin is now $2,000 after 10 minutes. I'm a huge fan of yours, but you took my life savings. I purchased your coin with my life savings and my children's college fund. You didn't mention that you were going to buy 97% of it and sell it to make a large profit. If I had known that, I would not have purchased your coin. Who can I contact for a refund? Yeah, you're going to get that refund because, every pump and dump scam gives you a refund. So are we admitting that this is what cryptocurrency is in general? It's just robbing morons, pump and dumping, some basically it's like if you can pump and dump the concept of waving keys in an infant's face, that's basically what a shit coin is. You wave the keys in somebody's face, you get them interested in it, you take the money, and you leave them with nothing. Bravo. I don't know if Ms. Welch actually did this herself or if it was just some accountant running a scam. I mean, not to pass judgment, but she doesn't seem like a goddamn genius. Now, I can't really see her programming a computer or running like a blockchain or anything. I'm going to wager some accountant just ran this under her auspices. Is there a way we can make like two internets? Like internet for people, with IQs above 100 and internet for people with IQs below 100? Because I'd be all for that. And as I look at the comments, I see that the only respondent to the poll wanted to talk about the Elder Scrolls cookbook. Yeah, so apparently there's an Elder Scrolls cookbook now. I don't know if Bethesda's just given up on making games. The Tastes and Tales of Tamriel. By God, if that cookbook doesn't have a recipe for how to purify moon sugar into skooma, I'm going to be very goddamn upset. The Khajiit has no coin for cookbooks that don't have skooma recipes. Ponythorn agrees with me. The barrier to entry is why the internet was better in the late 90s. Yep, late 90s internet, when Duke Nukem published a book by Duke Nukem about how to set up the internet. Ponythorn says everything about the Hawk 2 girl makes me think she's picked up by handlers after getting famous. I'm going to have to agree. Honestly, I don't... Okay, she was walking around a bit drunk, and she made a dumb joke, and instant superstardom. I don't... Somebody said this once. Being on the internet with normies really is like being on the internet with a bunch of orangutans, just like, unga bunga, like, sex and like jingly car keys. Ponythroats asks, does the Elder Scrolls Cookbook tell you how adding a wedge of cheese to another cheese wheel make a potion that resists fire? I would have to assume so. I'm also going to have to assume that it teaches you how to harvest giant ant carcasses and cook steaks out of them. And finally, now we come to the title story. There was apparently a Muppet sexual scandal. Not officially of the Muppets, but there was a Twitter account, a fan account for Jim Henson's, cuddly friends. Muppet History, at Muppet History. All of a sudden, this fairly popular Twitter account suddenly just closed up shop. They made some kind of vague apology, and I quote, "In the 6 years I've been doing Muppet History, I made mistakes. I said things I regret. I've hurt people. There are things I can't fix. My hope is that I can better myself as a person and not make those mistakes in the future. Those I have hurt, I am sorry." People were a bit confused about what happened. Through a bit of digging, followers of the fan page were shocked to learn that behind the visage of this innocent Muppet-based account were allegations of inappropriate sexual behavior with fans and rumors of attacks towards other Muppet accounts. Hey, Homer, what the hell is a Muppet? Well, it's not quite a mop and it's not quite a puppet, but man, to answer your question, Bart, I don't know. Anyway, let's go into this story. The Muppet History account, touting itself as a fan page dedicated to continuing the spirit and silliness of Jim Henson, it was run by a husband and wife duo, Joshua and Holly Gillespie. They are kind of beady-eyed, fat-faced people, but they seem okay. And, they were pretty successful. The Twitter profile had 283,000 followers, and their Instagram had a following of almost 600,000. So, a lengthy apology was posted to the Instagram and X accounts of Muppet History. Nobody was really sure what exactly they were referring to, but, people began to figure out what was going on. Well, apparently, Joshua Gillespie was sending messages to people with quote-unquote playful flirting. It was never his intention to make them uncomfortable. I misunderstood our friendship. The woman replied, I looked through every message I have with him. I never once said anything that would give him any indication that talking to me like that was appropriate, funny, or encouraged. This woman blocked all his pages, and let's see. Yeah, he was bullying other people. He sended like sexual replies and nudes to girls on Instagram. It's quite the scandal here. This Megan woman messaged the Mrs. Gillespie to inform her of her husband's unsavory actions. Yeah, Mr. Gillespie was a serial harasser of women. Yeah, he sent inappropriate sexual jokes to many women. This Megan says she will use her platform to reveal his dirty deeds. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can find any of these specific emails. Yeah, he was really mean. He was yelling at people because they're not a real Muppet page, ironically, because he himself is just a fan page, not affiliated with the Henson Company. Now, I guess maybe like people want to protect the innocence, so I'm not seeing any direct sources of what he said exactly, but somebody can find some of that. Yes, Muppet History says, the community is near and dear to our hearts, and we hope to foster and embody the principles of Jim Henson in our work and action. I will not mention the fact that Jim Henson was a bit of a philanderer himself, but never mind that. Okay, yes, basically, he was a serial harasser of women. A Malone's Pops was one of his targets, and she was afraid because she felt alone because this man had he had a lot of power and sway in the Muppet community. At least 4 women were sexually harassed. Okay, I found some of the original material, at least. He sent the picture. Joshua Gillespie at Muppet History says, "Damn, girl, that mouth opens wide. What else can it do?" Vaguely sexual pictures of Kermit the Frog. I wish I had more of the primary source stuff. But, man. It is said that absolute power corrupts absolutely, but we have found, officially, the smallest amount of power a man can have and go completely mad with and intimidate people with. And that is running a Muppet account on Twitter. Yeah, I really don't have that much of the original material there, but if somebody can send me more, I would appreciate it. And as a side note, why exactly do all these like weird swinger like sexual harassers, or are they just the ugliest goddamn people in the world? This dude literally looks like a goddamn Muppet, not even one of the cool ones. Fucking embarrassing. Okay. So yes, beware creepy internet men, even Muppet people. Yeah, that about does it. Hey Statler, did you hear that the Muppet History guy is into polyamory? I don't even know if anybody would want to have single amory with him. Oh ho 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 ho. Okay, I'm done. Inevitable joke, sorry. Ponythroat says, all the healthcare companies now no longer have high-ranking members on their websites. Well said. Liam Roddy says, damn, I'm late to the stream. Well, I can take solace in the fact I finished my bathroom renovation. Well, that's much more important. Ponythroat says he's going to Kermit sexual harassment. Well said. Alpha Riga says, did Jim Henson ever do anything else like the Dark Crystal? Labyrinth is kind of like that. He did those Land of Gorch Saturday Night Live skits, which were a little bit more edgy. Maybe you can check those out. I mean, they're not great because he wasn't writing them, but you might check them out. That's kind of like a predecessor to the Dark Crystal. Nimrodi says, Waka Waka. Yes, of course. There's many jokes I could be making here. Yes, a man ran a popular Muppet History account and just went drunk with power. I'm sure whoever Muppet History was apologizing to was very moved. Yeah, moving to a new house. Waka waka. Anyway, I'm sure this is going to end with the Gillespies literally living in trash cans. Shinzeki Evans says, "Are Muppet fans into fisting?" Oh, almost certainly, sir. Leonardi asked, "Did you address the Hawk 2 Chicks crypto scam?" Yes, I did. Alpha Marigi says, "I had a community college video game club implode because nobody wanted to do the 5 hours of paperwork to be the president, so we had one term reign, so a doofus had a power trip." Why is there paperwork for a goddamn club? I say that as if when I was in middle school, we had a Model UN club that had a tryout. So, I don't know what the hell. Okay, so that does it for my prepared remarks. You can say your last pieces now, should you desire. I'm going to coffee myself up. So it seems like the Gillespies are going to find the rainbow connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me, and him, and the other women he sexually abused. Waka waka. Ponythroat says he's going to install a floppy drive in whose company I shall no longer feel ashamed. Alpha Marigi clarifies that clubs have, have paperwork. I did not know that. Okay, it doesn't seem like anybody else has anything else to say. So for Larsen Halleck, this has been Larsen Halleck. See ya, Space Cow.